Hey, so I had to come back to talk about Lovecraft Country. I've been gone for a minute, but I'm back with Jump Off. Let's get into it. So the show starts off with Atticus, our main character, in the black and white trenches of war. I guess it's the Korean War, not the Vietnam War. Like I will say, multiple times throughout this whole entire process. Um, and he's fucking niggas up left and right. He's stabbing people. He's being quite a badass. And then this was kind of when I started to notice the muscles, but I guess that wasn't the point of this scene. But whatever, I guess. And there's an explosion, and then like the camera pans up, and then you realize that he's not like in a regular war. He's like on Mars. You see fucking aliens, and you see um, other types of aliens that kind of look like the aliens from War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise, and you see fucking gladiators. You see fucking all types of shit. Like it's wild, and I love that they started it like this to kind of let you know, hey, it's about to get a little crazy up in here, but you're gonna love it because I was just juiced like, oh my god, what the fuck is going on? It's like been 2 minutes since the fucking show started, and then you see this alien come down from a UFO, and she's like this red lady, and she's coming down, and Atticus hugs her, and then she says something to him, and they're interrupted by a Cthulhu, and at the Cthulhu gets killed by fucking Jackie Robinson. So then I was like, okay, this is definitely a dream. And I knew it was Jackie Robinson straight off the top because I was just the monologue in the background that's playing was from the Jackie Robinson movie that he actually starred in that I've never seen, but I googled it. And I think that red lady is the Korean woman that was cast. I didn't do any research on who she was. I don't think that the character is in the books. I haven't read the books again because I haven't read the books again recently. I meant to start reading them again because I knew I wanted to do the reviews, and I knew that the show was going to come out. But it's really hard to read a book that takes place in 19 fucking 50, and then to come home in 20 fucking 20 and deal with the same shit. Not the exact same shit. I don't have any Shogoths or fucking Cthulhu's after me, but when I get pulled over, I'm scared for my life. And I should be. It's we get killed. We're getting killed out here every fucking day, men, women, and children. We're not safe. I digress. So yeah, so he wakes up and he realizes, he's on the back of the bus, leaving Kentucky. Fuck Jim Crow South. We're out of here. We in the North now. We're free. Bus breaks down. How free are you really? The bus breaks down, and then a truck comes to pick them people up. And, Atticus is just sitting there reading his book. And when he's sitting on this little seat reading this book, man, God, I know that he wasn't flexing, like he was relaxed, but that man's muscles were just protruding out of everything, and I was just so distracted. So distracted. Maybe it's me. I don't know. Maybe you guys have the same experience, but that man looked good. That he takes care of his body. And he's a nerd that take care of his body. That's the dream. Everybody loves that. But you read? You do push-ups while you read? And I love that. It seems like a lot of the characters in this book, and a lot of the characters in the book, and a lot of characters in the show are fucking nerds. Like, they just like to read books and talk about those books and, really truly experience. Because, when you read the book, it stays with you. Good books stick with you. Good books travel with you for the rest of your life. And I think that's kind of the message that Atticus was trying to give when he was walking with the lady, because they realized they weren't going to get a ride from the truck. So she asked him, what book are you reading? He says, Princess of Mars, I think. And he said it's about this guy, John Carter, who's an ex-Confederate who goes to Mars to save the Martians, whatever. And the lady, like most sensible people, was like, ex-Confederate? How are you ex-Confederate? And he's just like, stories aren't perfect, we have to take them for what they are and just do what we can with them. And as a black woman who consumes media, that rings highly true. Like, look, sometimes you're reading media, even some of my favorite authors. It's like when you add a black character in it, it's like I can kind of tell how disconnected you are from us by the way that you write this character, because that's not how we act. I'm not saying that black people are all monolith and we all act the same, but we have different experiences that allow us to make different types of choices that offer us different choices, different options that we have to take and we have to think of. So they finally make it to Chicago, and you have this scene with George and Hippolyta or Hippolyta. I've been reading it as Hippolyta this whole time. That's how I'm gonna pronounce it. But since she's a black lady and they say her name is Hippolyta, I'm gonna try my hardest to say her name correctly. Okay, Hippolyta. And I just really love this scene of just like black love, dark on dark black love, brown on brown black love. You rarely see it. You rarely see it. I wonder why, but you just don't. So George and Hippolyta tells him that she's ready to go out for the guy. And he's like, hey, these fucking white people are crazy murderers, psychopaths, and they will murder you, probably rape you, or rape you and murder you, or murder you and rape you in whatever order they choose, because they're fucking crazy psychopaths and they're running rampant and wild and nobody's checking them. So no, I don't want you to go. I don't know why they don't just go together as a family, because if you die, I'm gonna die too. Look, you ain't finna get killed by them. We going out together swinging, we shooting, we busting. So like, he's just like, no. And then he sees Atticus, and Atticus tells him about his dad missing. And it's funny, like, seeing him walk through kind of the city. It does such a great job putting you in the area of seeing the things that Atticus observes while he's walking around all sexy with his tight ass clothes on. It's just, he sees the armor recruiter, and it seems like, he still might be a little bit better. Who knows what that recruiter told him to get him to sign up so they can go. Like, he may have given him some spiel about him being a hero because, obviously Atticus has this desire to become a hero. And, he never sees himself as a hero in any of the books that he's obsessed with. So maybe he thought this was a way, but for some reason, black people in the military weren't considered heroes when they got back. You see the kids playing out in the fire hydrant. You see the hating ass police officer turn it off. So it's just like, oh, wow. This sucks. But it's really subtle, and I really like that they did that. So Atticus goes to a bar that his dad frequents, and I guess in the show, Montrose, Atticus' dad, might be a alcoholic, because they keep mentioning like he's been on the bottle. And he walks up to this bar, and he goes to the barkeep, the owner of the tavern. I don't know what they're called. And I guess the barkeep is getting a blowjob from a man. I'm not sure if that's important or not. Maybe they're just like, hey, gay people existed back then. Like, which they did. It's fine. I don't know. But he tells him, like, yo, yeah, we seen, last time I see your dad, he was chilling with a white man. My favorite thing in the book when this part happens, and he's like, he's with a white man? Is he okay? Was he the police? He's like, well, no. Well, how was Montrose's mood? He was the least angry I ever seen him around a white person. And I was just like, same. Same. So it's like bubbling under the surface. Especially, I couldn't imagine being in the 50s. This is just 30 years after fucking Tulsa. And whatever countless amount of racialized terrorism that they've experienced every fucking day. I don't understand how anybody survived without just dying of anger. Just pure anger. And So, Atticus tells George that he's looking for his dad, and he's in Arkham. Arkham is a place in Lovecraft Country. Lovecraft Country is this area that was created by Lovecraft. Like, if you read Stephen King does a lot of things in, like, the New England area, and I think he got that from Lovecraft, having all his stories take place kind of, like, in the same fictional area. So he's like, okay, so how the fuck am I supposed to get to Arkham? Arkham ain't real. And then George is like, nah, nigga, that's a D. because it's cursive, and that's probably why they don't teach cursive in school anymore. He's like, okay, where the fuck is Artem? And so they start to do the research. So we get to like the city, and it shows Ruby, one of the main characters in the show. And one thing I like about the difference in the show, because like in the book, Ruby was more like, oh, I'm fat and dark. Oh, I can't do anything. Oh. Like, and I did not like that, especially given Ruby's storyline in this. So I just really didn't. I didn't dislike Ruby's character, but I felt like Ruby's character would have been better had there been more input from Black women. So I'm very excited to see what changes they make in the show. She seems to be very confident. You know, she's up there performing her song, and then here comes Letty, and she's kind of steals the show. And you can only imagine the kind of risk between these two sisters. One's large, one's skinny, one's light, one's dark. They're in the 50s. Even now today, we don't even have to get into the kind of issues that they may or may not have, but I'm very interested to see the development of the relationship. I know she was saying that she wanted to like apply at the department store, and I think unless you were like passing, they were not hiring Black people. Atticus goes to Montrose's house, and you can tell it's kind of difficult for him to be back there. You see this kind of evidence of when he left. There's a hole in the wall. There's a lot of copies of The Count of Monte Cristo. Crisco. That might be a good book. Ooh, a book about lard. But he has a couple of copies. I saw somewhere that the writer of that book was Black. I didn't know that, and could you? I would like to know that man's story, because wow, that's interesting. Being a Black author in that time, where, but I wonder if that's the reason why he has so many copies of that book, or if there's something about the book, the story, somebody plotting revenge and getting that revenge for years and years and years, if that has something to do with Montrose's story. But I guess we will find out. Montrose has always been obsessed with not necessarily history, but family, bloodlines, things like that. So this talk about legacies and birthright and shit, it might sound weird from somebody else, but I think it's because it's from Montrose, who they know is obsessed with lineage and history. It's not weird that he would send a letter like that. While Atticus is here, he makes a call. He says every number. He's like, dial 7426814762843218976. And then he I guess you kind of figure out where the nerd comes in, because he calls some lady. I'm thinking that's the Martian lady. And she's like, Atticus, you should have never left. I wonder if he got her pregnant. I feel like that's what's going on. But I feel like there's a story, a love storyline between Letty and Atticus. I don't remember there being one in the book. Possibly, I don't know. But Atticus finds out that Letty's coming with them. You're getting a little excited. And we find out that Letty was the only female member in the nerd club. So I want them to be together. I want them to have little nerd babies. That's it. It's crazy how extensive their checklist is. Damn, they gotta have maps and shit. And you can't just stop if you need to use the bathroom, because again, you're under the constant threat of murder wherever you go. So this long ass checklist, this family dynamic is just so beautiful to me. The mother's father, daughter, he gives her Dee gives him the comic, and she's fucking amazing. That's fucking awesome. I would love for that. If my son made me comics, I would fucking cherish those things. I would laminate them. That's fucking dope. I know he's a fucking proud parent that she makes full-fledged travel comics with the fucking Green Book advertisement in the back. That's a bad bitch. Sorry, that's a bad baby. Sorry, lady. I'm sorry. Yeah, so I'm excited to see. Again, it's been a minute since I've read the book, so I literally don't remember what happened in their story. I don't remember what happened with the child. I barely remember what happened with Hippolyta. Some of the previews are kind of bringing it back to me. So we're off on the road. And there's a voiceover from James Baldwin in his debate with a person whose name I don't remember. And there's shots of segregated America on this road trip. And these shots kind of, well, they definitely are a straight homage to Gordon Parks's shots of the South. And I felt like a bad bitch because I was like, I know that. Look, I've seen this somewhere before. And it's straight up. And they had like a lot of things of what happened in the book, kind of like in a montage. And it's just like he's trying to eat a banana like a normal person that's hungry, and these people are doing like monkey signs at him. And it's funny, right as they pull away, there's this fucking big ass Aunt Jemima sign. There's this another picture where it's just like this like line of people waiting at the bus stop, and it's like a white family in a car since the American dream. You know, just being a black person traveling across the country, you know, shit that you see. It was really beautiful, and I think that dialogue that they had playing over it was perfect. I love hearing James Baldwin. I love hearing him. He's on my wall. I'm about to get like a couple more of him. I want more of our heroes, more than just Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, to be taught, because I wasn't taught about James Baldwin. I had to learn about him, and I don't like that. So they're driving around, and George kind of reminds them like, hey, you know, I got a job, so we're gonna have to do some scouting while we're on our way, and there's some place close by that we can see. And on the way there, it's funny because George is like, I'm gonna drive, and Letty's like, yeah, I'm not allowed to drive. I guess women couldn't drive back then. Like, that was like a rule, or no, it's still now. People still believe that women can't drive, so whatever. So they're driving the road trip, and, you know, they're having fun and minding their own business, and Atticus kind of is looking out the window, and he's like kind of realizing shit, and you get the vibes. Like, nothing is said, but you just feel the energy, you know. And it's crazy because all they're trying to do is get from point A to point B, you know. So Atticus takes his buff ass arm out the window because, you know, he knows like he's getting started. So they're looking for this red brick building that was friendly to people of color, and they find it. And it's crazy because when they pull up, there's a burnt down building that they pull up in. And I thought that was where they were going. And I was like, oh, well, this is different. But no, they go to a different building that's, you know, nice. They walk in, there's somebody sitting at the table, and as soon as they walk in, he leaves. Like, and it's just like, this is shit that annoys me. Like, dude, what the fuck, man? Like, see, the thing about racism is so stupid. It's dumb. I'm going to try not to go on my racism rants all the time, but I can't help but put myself in the shoes of these characters, as I do in like all things that I consume, you know? And it's just like, not even just anger, it's just annoyance. And that's kind of why I understand why George stayed. Like, you know, even when Atticus is like, hey man, is this even worth it? I don't even feel like dealing with this today. I actually really am hungry. I just kind of wanted a sandwich. And George is like, man, fuck that. No, I'm sick of shit. You know? He's like, you know, my money spends just as good. I work harder than all these people up in here, and these people are acting like I'm not a citizen. You fought for the damn country, and they can't serve you. You put your life on the line so that these people can sit up here and act like that, and they can't serve you. I get it. I completely get it. I get it. So Letty quickly becomes one of my favorite characters, like just straight from this scene alone. So she excuses herself to go to the bathroom, and she overhears this, the waiter like, oh my God, no, they're here. No, I promise I didn't serve them. And I think he's talking to the fire department, because he said, after what you did to Miss Lydia, and I guess that was the previous owner. Letty's like, or George and Atticus are talking to each other, and he's looking around, noticing things. He notices that the walls are painted white, and he's like, "Oh, it reminds me of the white. Why the White House is white?" And it's like, "Oh, the War of 1812, another war that I don't know anything about." But I do know that the slaves rebuilt the White House. That's what I do know. That's what I felt like is the important information. And it's like, well, they painted it white to cover up the scorch marks. And so once they realized that, Atticus pulls back the tile, sees that it was burnt down. Letty goes busting out, pop, 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 pop. Come on, we gotta go, go. And so they get up out of there. I guess she started like a small fire in the back because she's a fucking bad bitch. And she hops in the driver's seat. Like, I can't drive, but she fucking zooms out of there. And I didn't think a chase scene with these fucking maximum 30 miles an hour ass cars, like, they would be so interesting. But she was driving. Like, she's who I need to have during the apocalypse. Like, you know how, like, you're like, okay, so you could choose any, like, 3 characters that you can have during the apocalypse. You can have Rick from The Walking Dead. You can have fucking Cersei. I'm having Letty on my team. She's somebody you need in your fucking corner. She thinks quick on her feet, and she's also very fucking fast, as we'll find out later. But they're doing this chase scene, and, like, you can tell they're in danger, but what I really like about it is that they're not like, oh God, we're gonna die, no. He said, let it get the gun. They busting back. These motherfuckers are shooting. We're not gonna let you just come up here and kill us. We're not just gonna, we're gonna bust back because all we wanted was a fucking meal. Y'all could have made $20. I'm sorry, I forgot what time it was. Y'all could have made $3, but no. And see, you could just do what you did after fucking segregation. You could just be rude as fuck to them and serve them and make your money and have everybody go about your day. But no, you wanted to chase somebody down in the car and kill them. So Letty notices the silver sedan that was following Atticus before, driving up next to them. She manages to get in front of it, and they're like fucking like riding, And then the sedan turns, and then like the fucking truck hits like a force field, and boom, flips over. You see the bodies of their dumbass racist ass selves all fucking split in half and all laid out and bloody and shit. That's what the fuck you get. You could have just been eating a sandwich. You could have been chilling, but no. You said, you know what, let me do something racist and crazy. And now you're fucking dead. Fuck you. But anyway, out the car comes the whitest white lady that I've seen in quite some time. White, blue eyes, very blonde, very, like, almost towhead, with red hat, red gloves. I'm noticing that color red pop up a lot in this. It reminds me of, like, The Sixth Sense. So, like, every time I see red, I'm like, okay, this is important. All right, pay attention to that. Pay attention to something about to happen. So they escape with the help of the car. But I feel like even if that car didn't interfere, didn't stop the racist fire people, they probably still could have got out of it. But I'm glad that, they didn't die. So I think a really interesting scene is, like, they're all at the table and they're, like, kind of recalling what happened, and they're laughing. They're like, oh my God, we was running out there and it was chasing us, like, it was like, you know how we tell stories. So, but then they're like, well, how did you get away? And they're like, well, subject change, So, Letty's brother was telling, he's done research about that county. And he said it was founded by, he said there was a white woman who said that the devil came to her in the form of a Negro man and she slept with him. And she was, I think she was killed. And they're like, oh, so, was she a witch? And they're like, oh, yeah, whatever. That's what they said, that she was a witch. Oh, so it's founded by witches? No, it's founded by the witch hunters. Great. Witch hunters. That's how you know the logic's fucked up, because witch trials didn't make no fucking sense. So this, like, whatever is going on is not gonna help. So and that there, there's a lot of people missing because there's a lot of grizzlies and wolves in the woods, and there's a terrible racist sheriff who is also probably responsible for a lot of the missing people. The sheriff is killing people, and so they're like, oh, damn, we still gotta go. So they get ready for the night. George calls Hippolyta, and, they have this fucking conversation about how much he loves her and how he got this great idea that maybe she should start, coming on the trips to scout. That might be a great idea. Then, you know, it's she had to implant the idea, and later it had to come up to be his idea. That's why she was like, "Oh yeah, that sounds like a good idea. I like that." So I was like, "Okay, yeah, this is definitely gonna fucking die." But like, I read the book and I was like, "Are they really gonna kill him?" Like, no, but he's such an important character. How could they kill him? I love Uncle George, you know. But and he's just reading the travel guide, and or the comic that was given to him by his daughter. And he's just, what I got from this scene was just him thinking about family, him thinking about legacy, and just, wanting to protect his family. That's what I got. I really felt like he really truly. But Letty and her brother are arguing, and I think what Letty has been doing is probably fighting for freedom. She says she used some of the money that was sent to her to come home for their mother's funeral to bail some friends out of jail. And I'm assuming, shit, still to this day, you can go to jail for anything. It's so easy. Oh, it's so easy to go to jail, man. Whew. Every day I'm blessed to stay out. Amen. But, Atticus and George are out there talking, and Atticus is kind of listening. And he's like, thinking about, all the fights that he and his dad had. Their fucked up relationship. And he was kind of like, "George, what? You knew what the fuck was going on. Why didn't you do nothing?" And he was telling him how, like, Atticus is a fucking stubborn, or Montrose is hella fucking stubborn. So, like, he would come over, hang around. He wouldn't ask about Atticus, but he would just chill, stay way, way long and wouldn't leave until they brought him up. Wouldn't stay to 10, midnight. Just wouldn't leave until he brought Atticus up. And Atticus was like, "Oh, he never wrote me, he never reached out or anything like that." But he's trying to, like, George is trying to explain, like, your dad comes from an abusive home, he may not know how to explain it, And he couldn't, he was saying that he couldn't protect him. And then Atticus was like, "Well, you didn't protect me either." Which I thought was, like, really interesting that, Atticus kind of just confronted him like that. You never really see familial confrontations like that. And I think the argument between Letty and her brother became physical, and Atticus was going to stop it, and George was like, "Nah, that's not her business." He was like, funny you would say that, So Letty leaves with them in the morning, and there's nothing even spoken. They're just like, "Okay, we get it. Yeah, let's come on. You riding? Let's go. You can ride with us." And she's a good one to have on your team. Anyway, I love her outfit in this next part. Like, she has these red hot pants on and this white shirt with this red. Actually, all her outfits, she hasn't missed. Her hair looks great. She had these, like, sunglasses on in these that one scene in the diner, and she was like. So they finally make it to Devon fucking County. We made it. Yay. And they're fucking lost. So they pull over and, try to get their shit together. And Atticus is looking out, and they hear something. And Atticus is like, "Oh, those are probably Shoggoths." And of course, Letty's is like, "What the fuck is that?" And he kind of tells her, they're like these Shoggoths, the multi-eyed blob, hundreds of eyed blob. Of course, the fucking sheriff pulls up. Yay. And you get this feeling that, the feeling that you get when you get pulled over. It's just like, you kind of already know how it's gonna go, and then it goes that way. When I was reading the book, that's kind of why it was hard for me to reread the book, because, like, in the book, there was just so much shit, like, so many instances before he even got to the damn Devon County that, like, by the time we got here, I was just like, I can't do it. I can't do it no more. I gotta drive. I gotta just and luckily I can put down the book and I don't have to continue to do it. But, like, this shit's real life, man. This shit's real life. the sheriff does the honor, or does the, tells them that, hey, this is a sundown town, meaning that, unfortunately, I'd have to kill you if you're here after sundown. Again, psychopathic murderers, just living out. And so Atticus, with his finance, was like, hey, is it okay if we make a U-turn right here? And he's like, oh, you are smart. Ugh. This guy, this actor, sorry to the actor, but you know what? You're ugly. You're ugly. Your hat is ugly. I hate it. I hate you. It's just, it's so annoying to watch. Maybe that's why it's so greatly filmed, because, like, even while Atticus and the sheriff are talking, and the sheriff is just, like, making Atticus, like, demean himself in order to live, and in order to have Letty and George live, Letty's face, like, during this whole shit is amazing. It's perfect. Like, the how she's looking at both of them, and it's some bullshit. And, like, the scene is so tense because they start driving. You can't go over the speed limit, but you got to get out of here in 7 minutes while the sun goes, down. And if you speed, we're going to pull you over and kill you. If you don't get out of here, we're going to pull you over and kill you. And even after they get out of town before the sunrise, or the sunset, there's, of course, cars waiting outside for them because, again, psychopathic murderers want to murder. There's nothing that's going to stop them from murdering. And they're like, oh, there's been a series of break-ins in this, in the city or whatever, in the town. And, like, side note, I wonder, this is probably why people want to go back to that time so badly. Because could you imagine how much fucking crime you could commit and get away with if you could just blame it on black people? I know people still do it, but, it's harder, a little harder now, because we have a lot of cell phone footage, and you get caught, and then you get canceled or whatever. But you didn't have to do shit. You didn't have to do shit. Oh, okay, we're gonna find the nearest black... God, it just sucks how the fucking parallels to what we are going through today. And I promise I'm gonna stick to the show. I'm gonna try to stick to the show and what the show is doing, but we can't watch the show without talking about this shit, because this shit is the show. It's all one thing. They're getting ready to kill him, and then, they have him on the ground, and Atticus is trying to just, like, not get murdered right now, or not have Letty murdered and George murdered in front of him. But, killers are gonna kill. This is, like, my favorite fucking part of the whole entire episode. Because this is, like, when we go from, like, just a regular show to we're in a big budget horror movie, right? And, oh, God. So when I first watched this the first time, I was, like, screaming at the screen. And each of my instructions were followed. Everybody was listening to me, and I appreciate it finally being heard. So they hear this noise, and fucking monsters come out, rip this nigga arm clean off, bite this nigga head off, blood everywhere, splat. I was like, yes, this is what I love. So they're covered in fucking blood, and they're running. They fall down a fucking hill, and they find a cabin with a red door, and they go and they run into it. And unfortunately, the fucking stupid ass racist police, or I know racist police is kind of redundant, huh? That's like saying police. But the police are, like, behind them, trying to also find safety. So they go inside the cabin. So this is when I was like, okay, that's how I know Uncle George is gonna die. Like, this is it. Uncle George is still down there, like, oh my God, is it safe? And, like, he sees this flashlight, and he's like, because it's still wrapped around the disembodied hand arm of the police. And so he's walking through the woods and flashing his fucking light around and shit, and you get to see the monster, and it was pretty disgusting and gross. It didn't look real. It definitely looked CGI, but it wasn't bad. It looked like they spent some money, which was great. And Atticus is like, okay, I need to go out there and get my fucking uncle. But wait, you think just because my arm got fucking halfway bit off that I'm not going to stop being racist? No. Fucking ugly ass sheriff nigga with his fucking arm halfway off is like, no. Racist, something racist. And it was like, no, you're not going to do nothing but barricade the door. Because, even in a dire situation with creatures and monsters, they're still not. So George finds his way into the cabin before they get the doors barricaded. And of course, the police officer is like blaming them for them, and he's like, and they're like, no, there's fucking monsters out there. This nigga's talking about monsters don't exist. We don't need this nigga on the team. You need to go. He is out of here. The fuck? Look at your arm. Look at your arm. Look at it. Look. I'm sorry. Look at your arm, Joe. It's all fucked up. Like, it's all green and shit and oozing and shit. You talking about monsters? What about you, boo? What about you? See, and these are the type of people that you cannot have on the team. These are the type of people, if they're your friends, white people, if there's any white person that comes across this video, if those are your friends, cut them out the team. He's like, okay, they didn't catch me. I had a flashlight. So I'm guessing that he quotes Dracula at them. So he's like, I'm thinking that the Shoggoth, drives them away. And so they, get the idea, there's flares in the car, because we packed up, remember the list. The headlights would be good. So Atticus was like, okay, let's go. And the course racist was like, oh, no, you. And they're trying to get lights. So Atticus is like, okay, well, I can go get the car. And of course, police was like, oh, no, man, nah, you gonna escape and leave us to die. Send the girl. The girl can't do it, And then Atticus was like, no, man, I'm a hero. I gotta do this. And then Letty was like, Atticus, you see them big ass fucking glasses you got on? Can you even see at night? Nah, we're not taking the class, but bruh, I know I'm fast. I'm the track star. So, Atticus lets her go, and Matt, it was beautiful. That's how you run. From now on, that's how you run. Anybody in a horror movie, she didn't look back not one time. Breathing, making sure just in case the destination was further than she had intended, she still had enough air in her lungs to get to where she needed to go. She was booking. She ain't trip. She ain't stumble. And I feel like even if she did trip, she would do a fucking somersault because her form was so amazing. Her form was just... That's how the fuck you run. That is how the fuck you run. So, she gets to the car. She ain't dropped the fucking keys. She ain't fumbled to get the key in the ignition. Nah, she got it right in that bitch and turned it. Car didn't start the first time, but it's 1950. They ain't got the push and start. I'm gonna let that go. Meanwhile, in the cabin, Uncle George is noticing, hey, your bit-armed sheriff buddy is not looking too good. And then he's asked, say, hey, what happens to a vampire when a vampire gets bit? And it's like, well, you turn into a vampire, right? So he's like, well, by that logic, I mean, look, we need to go by what we know right now, okay? We don't think vampires were real. We probably didn't think Shoggoth were real. So let's just assume that everything is real now and all the rules apply. So he goes and he wasn't looking too good. He was trying to tell the other police to shoot old boy, because he was like, hey, your friend, he's not okay. You need to shoot him. He's like, oh, what? Why would I listen to you? Police, I'm racist. Oh. Bit off. Do transform. Right in the nick of time to save them was Letty through the cabin. Boom. Lights. Retreat. So they get the flares out the trunk. There's like, okay, so all we gotta do is make it to sunrise. And they're in formation, okay? They got themselves surrounded by light, and they're gonna fucking make it. We hear a whistle. Suddenly, all the monsters leave. So we get to sunrise, and I guess they walk the rest of the way, and... their walk was how I've been feeling since 2020. Just, their walk is like, look, what the fuck? I'm tired. I really don't want to keep going, but I got a goal. I have a destination. I got shit to do. So I'm going to do whatever y'all got to throw at me next. Go on and throw it. I'm ready.